everybody. Guess what I found in my house? That's right, it's an ice cream maker. I discovered this in my laundry room like 1 or 2 months ago, and for whatever reason I was thinking I have to wait until summer to use it. Recently I remembered that I eat ice cream every night. But I'm still doing it now that it's summer and it's getting pretty hot in New York. So I'm using a recipe from Cooking for Isaiah, which is a gluten-free and dairy-free cookbook, and I'm making strawberry ice cream. It calls for rice milk. I'm kind of changing it. I'm using almond milk because I like to live life on the edge. So I've never used an ice cream machine before, and I've never made ice cream before. So that's why this is a cooking adventure, because I may run into some problems because I'm human, and then you can see maybe how difficult it is or what to avoid, because there are some things you just can't predict before you start trying a new recipe. So I've never made ice cream, and we're just going to see what happens. So this is a note from present me to past me, and as an extension to all of you, that the recipe isn't like challenging to do really, but it does have a part in it where you need to refrigerate the contents of a bowl for 2 hours. So this is just a warning that you'll need to take a break while you're doing it to refrigerate something, so it is gonna have some added time because of that. I've just started cutting the 3 cups of strawberries, which is the first thing you need to do. The way that she writes her cookbook is like a lot of chefs do, where they make one step like 6 steps in one step. So I'm breaking it down a little bit more. If you've ever used the recipe, you would know. But basically, you need to take off the leaves and take out the cores and chop them finely, because these are going to be cooked into a kind of jam for the flavoring. And also, one more thing to note is that you measure it after you cut them, not before. I'm still cutting, but these smell so good. Shouldn't do that. Next, put all of your berries into a saucepan on medium heat with 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm using this tool to mash the berries, but you can just mash them with, say, a spoon. It doesn't have to be this. They need to be stirred and mashed, not constantly, but enough time that they don't burn over the next about 30 minutes, maybe less, until you have a jam-like consistency. It should start to bubble as you cook it, because you're making it into a jam. You should keep it at simmering, but not exactly boiling. Like right now it's bubbling a lot, so I'm stirring it to get the bubbles down. My strawberries are still simmering, but since we're not stirring them constantly, I thought this was a good time to do step 3, which is to mix 1/2 cup of milk, and as I've said, I'm using almond milk, with 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. As you can see, this has started cooking down. At the end of the 1/2 hour, it should be about 1 cup, and I have about 10 minutes to go, so it's getting there. My strawberries are almost done, and so I'm starting the next step. And by starting it, I just mean I'm preparing for it, because the next step is to place a heat-proof bowl over a pan of simmering water, and then you add things to that, and I'll explain that in a minute, but right about now you want to put your pan on. It does have some tea stains in it, but I didn't completely get them out because no food is actually going to touch this pan. So the strawberries are finally reduced to a jam-like consistency. And I'm about to start putting ingredients into the other bowl, but the water's not simmering yet. So your strawberries should look about like this. It's now very much a jam consistency, and before it was practically water. And also, it may be hard to tell from the angle, but this top here is where it started out, so it did reduce to about 2/3 of the height because it was supposed to reduce from 3 cups to 1. So the water isn't simmering yet, but it is starting to steam, so I'm going to start putting the ingredients I need into this heat-proof bowl, which, by the way, doesn't have to be an exact set. This is clearly larger, but I've used this before and I happen to know it can work with different sized bowls as long as it's not falling over or falling into it. So the ingredients that need to go into the heat-proof bowl are 3 whole eggs, and I've just added the other 2, and you also need 2 egg yolks without the white, so you need to separate the egg. So as you saw, I cracked the whole egg by accident, so I'm just scooping out some white to account for that. It's fixable. I've taken out some more egg white, and next we're adding the rest of the other half cup of the sugar because we put in 1/4 cup already. The rest of the milk that we're using, which is another 1/2 cup. Finally, 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I didn't have an 1/8 teaspoon measure, so I'm using this one called Just a Pinch. Okay, now we're putting the heat-proof bowl on top of the simmering water, and it needs to be whisked. This will be cooked for about 5 minutes, and then our milk mixture is going to be added to it. This has to be whisked the whole 5 minutes, but there's not much more cooking ahead. Now that you've been stirring this for 5 minutes, you can add the rest of the ingredients, which is just your milk and cornstarch mixture. Cook this for 8 more minutes until it thickens. Continue stirring it constantly and the mixture should begin to thicken like this. Once the 8 minutes have passed, you can take it off of the heat. This bowl is not that hot, so I am going to use my hands, but you should check to see how hot it is. And now you have to add 1/2 cup of your cooked strawberries. Which I need a little bit more in there. So stir the strawberries into it, and then, as I just said, you cover it with plastic wrap. Place in the refrigerator and refrigerate until cold, which can take up to about 2 hours. I just took this out of the box. I really have no idea how ice cream machines work, and I'm knocking all of the styrofoam over. I've partially taken this apart again because I just made a discovery. I need to freeze the cylinder bowl for 6 to 7 hours before I can use this. So it looks like this is going to be finished tomorrow. So step 6 is to strain your refrigerated mixture with a sieve and a spatula. I'm pressing down with a spatula to get all of the liquid out of this mixture. This part of it has been strained already, so I'm transferring it into the barrel of the ice cream maker. Now that I've transferred the custard, I've put together the ice cream machine, which was just, you know, this piece goes on there, that one in there is the barrel you saw, and we're ready to turn it on. The custard is going to be processed for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to add the rest of the strawberries that it seemed we'd forgotten about to this purpley looking mixture. Oh, and by the way, this is actually the next day because, as I did say, the cylinder there needed to be frozen for 6 hours, I said. I did not account for it taking 26, so it's a little bit later than it was yesterday actually, but around the same time now. Always read instructions. Oh, also, while this is still running and we're in the home stretch, this was a fairly easy recipe to follow. It just took some time, and it wouldn't have taken that long if I didn't have to wait for my ice cream machine to be ready, since I hadn't used it before and then needed to freeze that. But like overall, it was probably the hardest thing was cooking the strawberries, and that wasn't hard, it was just that you needed to be watching that it didn't burn. And now it's making the ice cream, and what we're going to have when that's done is basically soft serve consistency. So after that, if you don't want soft serve and you want like hard ice cream, you can put it in an airtight container and freeze it for a couple hours, and then it'll be that consistency instead. Oh, also, I just wanted to say I'm sitting by a different window because I'm trying to avoid the sound a little bit, but I probably chose one of the more difficult recipes, making strawberry ice cream, because we had to cook berries to make it, and I thought we were just going to put them in really before I started it. So you don't have to make strawberry ice cream, you can make whichever flavor you choose, and probably a lot of flavors are easier, so I just wanted to show you some of the recipes recommended in the manual for my ice cream maker. So we have basic vanilla, which looks very simple, and French vanilla, and French chocolate, can't miss that one, banana ice cream, pistachio ice cream, rum raisin ice cream, well, if you want alcoholic ice cream, I guess, I don't know how that works. I'm not sure if that's ice cream actually, because there are some sorbets in here. I'll just show you real quickly. But as you know, I wanted to make ice cream. There you go, more inspiration. So the last step, which I don't know what number that is, it might be 7, you need to transfer the rest of your berries into your ice cream maker through the hole on the top. So I've been using the spatula to transfer this, and I don't have another hand, so I'm just going to finish it like this so I can show you. So you need to follow the instructions for your ice cream machine for the next part, because that is just basically leaving it in for the correct amount of time. My ice cream machine said that it should take about half an hour, so I'll probably take it out in like 2 or 3 minutes, but I don't know how universal that would be, so you should make sure you read that. So I'm done mixing the ice cream, and it's now about a soft serve consistency, but I am going to just make it all the way into hard ice cream. So I have my Tupperware container with a lid to make it airtight, and I'm about to transfer it now. So this is the finished product, but I do have to warn you, the reason why this is purple is because I used almond milk instead of rice milk, and I thought it didn't matter, and yeah, don't actually use almond milk because it also has like a slightly weird texture because of that, but besides that, it tastes pretty good. And yeah, thanks for watching. SUBSERID for a pinch of lovely. Don't disappoint me, I was hoping we could be friends. I didn't actually plan to change my hair during this video, but I think I changed it about 4 times. So, chameleon hair.